If you're looking for a Star Wars game that offers space fights, gunfights, and exploration of planets in a galaxy far, far away, then Star Wars Outlaws is the game for you. Thanks to Ubisoft, I got to play over 3 hours of Outlaws, and I'll be sharing some of my highs and lows of my gameplay experience. Yo, this your boy James over at XpectoGO, bringing you guys fun and positive gaming content. As soon as I started my playtest, I was able to explore the open world, surveying restricted areas run by syndicates and stations, collecting grenades, polycarbonate, and more. Be careful though while exploring, because I had syndicates chasing and shooting me down on my speeder. Same issue with pirates shooting me down, but in space this time while on the amazing ship, the Trailblazer. These were fun little surprises that made the open world actually feel like a lawless outer rim that we were promised in the marketing for the game. When talking open world, I gotta mention though, the gorgeous environments. It was so impressively detailed, seeing the grass or bushes react to the wind on Tashara, the snowfall on the ground and clothes, detailed, displayed while in the frozen city of Kijimi, even Kijimi's orbit with the floating slender asteroids amongst a thunderstorm was gorgeous to look at while just exploring the open world. Now, all of that beauty and attention to detail in the surrounding environments, I believe, is at its best in the hubs or cities. The density and the movement of the inhabitants in each location mixed with the city design really shows Star Wars Outlaws' commitment to detail, authenticity, and even immersion. Within the city walls and ports, there seemed to be a lot to do, just based on the 3 hours I had with the game. From the mini games of sabacc and even betting, to even finding NPCs for quests. It all lended itself to the scoundrel immersive gameplay, again promised in the promotions of the game and delivered overall. When talking about the open world, I gotta mention the traversal. It seriously was a blast and made the exploration and navigating so much fun. I really felt the speed and weight of the speeder while traversing on the planet floors, whether due to the heavy landing after a huge ramp jump or due to just outrunning bandits or pirates in syndicate territories.
She's making a break for it!
The controls were straightforward and easy to get comfortable with. Case in point, I hadn't used a Xbox controller since the 360 days, and the Xbox controller was the only way I would be able to get custom gameplay footage during my remote preview for Star Wars Outlaws. Luckily, I had a special edition Starfield controller unopened, which came in very clutch. The ease and fun of traversal also applied to my space flight on the Trailblazer, again the ship you will be controlling in Star Wars Outlaws. Dogfights against pirates were so much fun and downright addicting due to my overall love of space battles from the Star Wars movies and animated shows I grew up with. Just hearing the blaster effects and seeing the ships being destroyed after chasing them around was so rewarding, I think. I mean, come on, I felt like Luke and Han in the Millennium Falcon fighting TIE fighters from A New Hope, or the nostalgia from dogfights in Star Wars Rogue Squadron back on the N64. I even got to protect a Crimson Dawn freighter against multiple fighters. Although it presented a little challenge, it was a random mission that just popped up, and I was honestly glad I accepted it because I was rewarded a better reputation with the Crimson Dawn, which was something I was working on, and a ton of credits, or money for those who don't know. Seriously, traversal while flying in the Trailblazer or cruising on the speeder will easily be a fan favorite. Speaking of combat, gunfights were also a lot of fun and challenging at the same time. As Kay Vess, you're easily taken out, which honestly makes sense. She's not a Mandalorian with Beskar armor or even a Jedi with the Force. It's just you, your blaster, Nix, and your wits. So I find myself having to be very strategic while in combat. Luckily, the game gave me a lot of items to hide behind or in, and even gave me Nix, who is super useful in combat, as you can command Nix to attack enemies while you're also in a gunfight. There's also a ton of upgrades for your pistol or blaster that make combat a little more easier and a lot more fun. Upgrades like the Adrenaline Rush shot, where you can tag enemies in slow motion, then immediately take them out with a quick draw effect.
All right.
But when my adrenaline meter wasn't full, I really enjoyed taking enemy blaster rifles and grenades and using them. They really came in clutch and turned the tide while in gunfights with multiple foes. So, gunfights. They are a lot of fun in this game. But as much as I loved combat, traversal, and even the open world environments, sometimes while exploring the open world, specifically the areas outside the cities, it felt somewhat empty and less of a sandbox. I was hoping there would be ample opportunity to get lost or sidetracked by a cave or area far off in the distance, like in a Bethesda or Rocksteady title. And that didn't seem to be the case within my 3 hours. This made Star Wars Outlaws, despite being the first open world Star Wars game, feel kind of linear, which might be why the game roughly takes 30 hours to beat, according to Massive Entertainment. I'm still holding judgment though until I get the full game, but it's something I did notice during my 3 hours. Another thing I noticed was the sheer amount of stealth needed to complete tasks and quests. As an Assassin's Creed fanboy, this wasn't really an issue for me, but I was surprised by the lack of options you had in certain quests during stealth. I didn't have options to shoot my way out of a quest or even fight my way. I could only roll, slide, hide, and maybe do stealth takedowns, but with no blasters. Narratively though, it makes a ton of sense, and I respect Massive for maintaining the story within the gameplay, but this could get frustrating or even boring and is not for everyone. Luckily, Nix is an amazing feature and is so clutch in stealth, whether for fun distractions or for pressing buttons that are far to reach.
Push that button. Go to one.
But again, there was a surprising amount of stuff needed to progress the game, and it could rub people the wrong way, especially for a Star Wars game. Now, when you are able to use your blaster and even get into combat, I will say the NPC's AI at least felt a little less intelligent and more dumb during gunfights. I'd be close to two enemies, for example, while hiding. I'll shoot one right in front of the other, and the second one still couldn't find me because I was in tall grass. I don't know. I feel like they'd see me after doing something like that. I also have to mention, even though there are upgrades for your blaster, the combat might seem limited and maybe repetitive for some due to the lack of options in equipped weapons, even though you can pick up and use enemy weapons, as I mentioned earlier. Again, narratively, this makes sense because you shouldn't be carrying a ton of armor or weapons as a scoundrel. But I understand if players felt like this form of combat with the lack of options might be too repetitive. That being said, Star Wars Outlaws looks and feels like a true Star Wars game. From the cinematic cutscenes, camera flares, sound design, and even music played in the background. Massive Entertainment made sure every aspect of this game paid homage to the OG Star Wars in the 70s and 80s. That's also seen in the previously mentioned open world, traversal, and combat, delivering on the ultimate, dare I say, Han and Chewie experience, but now with Kay and Nix, some new and amazing characters. My 3 hours honestly went by so fast, and I couldn't get enough of this game despite some of its imperfections, but that's Star Wars. George Lucas wasn't a perfect script writer, but the characters, the environments, and the story with John Williams' score behind it made us all fall in love with this galaxy far, far away. And I think Massive Entertainment has done just that with Star Wars Outlaws. I seriously cannot wait to play this game again, and in 1 month by the time this video is out, I'll be able to do so. But until then, I want to send a special thanks to Ubisoft for allowing me to play this game early so I can give you guys my first impressions on the game, and a special thanks to the Patronus Squad for making videos like this and opportunities like this possible. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on more of our Star Wars Outlaws coverage, and be sure to check out the video to your right with even more Star Wars Outlaws gameplay. I've been James over at XpectoGO, bringing you guys the latest and greatest in fun and positive gaming content. Until next time.